guys, I'm Katana, bringing you more Worlds coverage from behind the scenes and off the Rift. We're here after the first match of the quarterfinals with Cloud9's jungler Meteos and Fnatic's jungler Cyanide. So just starting off, Cloud9 had a bye through the group stage. Do you think that not having played games in the group stage and going in cold gave you a bit of a disadvantage against Fnatic, who's already played 8 games here?
I don't think it was a disadvantage, really. We got to see what they did for all those 8 games, and they didn't get to see how we've played recently, but we just didn't really prepare well enough, and so we lost.
And obviously preparation is a huge part of it. What were the top junglers from each other that you were least looking forward to seeing, that you really wanted to, that you were expecting from the other jungler?
Yeah, I was expecting like Nocturne a lot, and we were a bit scared about it. Like we saw it sometimes, and it was pretty strong. So, but yeah, we weren't really afraid of anything because we knew that we could still play solid and probably win. Like the playstyle of Meteos is it's really good. I think like he likes to farm a lot, but in a way it's kind of predictable that he's just not gonna pick some really aggressive jungler and come and destroy us or something like that.
And were there any picks that you were afraid of coming out of Cyanide?
We banned his Aatrox because no one in NA really plays it, so we don't have much experience with it. And scrims with Aatrox were really snowbally. Either like he killed everyone or he would just be useless. And we didn't really want to take the risk that he would just snowball the game and make us lose. So we banned that, and I think it was pretty good because it wasn't really the jungle we were having issues with in our games. It was mostly the teleports that were screwing us, and then I guess I cast didn't pick.
And talking about picks and bans, obviously almost every single ban was toward mid laners, be it Xpeke or High. And teams that have gone up against Cloud9 before typically have not targeted a lot of bans toward High. They've been all over, particularly Balls' Rumble and many other kinds of picks. Were you guys really just worried about the stress that would be in the mid lane?
We weren't really worried, but we thought that if we banned these heroes, we didn't really know what he's gonna play so much, and the heroes we banned were like really annoying heroes like Fizz and stuff like that, Kennen even some games. So yeah, we just felt more confident banning them because we didn't really know that much about them. But yeah, I thought like it's best to ban the mid laners because if we are gonna ban something, they might have something else prepared, so it's not really gonna make a difference.
And you said that, yes, you did target a lot of bans toward Xpeke aside from the Aatrox, so what was your rationale there?
Well, Ahri's a really strong champion that we don't actually play, and so it's one that we pretty much were forced to ban any game we were going to play, so we kind of were disadvantaged there. And then Orianna we haven't had the most success because the champion's high plays are pretty bad against Orianna. Like, almost every champion he plays loses lane to Orianna, and we saw Xpeke play her a little bit, and he plays a really different style than we're used to, going like very defensive with the Leandries, and we just hadn't played against it, so we didn't know how it would go. So we didn't really want to just test it out in Worlds to see like, oh, can we beat this? So that was just sort of a safety thing. But yeah, their bans were really well thought out, and no one's really targeted High's small champion pool, and that's sort of been a problem for us the whole season. So they exploited it well, and that really hurt us.
And the match was very close in the first 2 games, particularly the first game was very close up until the fight at Dragon. You guys gave up two kills in exchange for Dragon and then got caught out a little bit afterward. Do you think that was the turning point of that game?
I don't know if it's a turning point. We pretty much just played worse than them the whole game. The teleports were a lot of pressure for us that we're not used to because no one in A really runs teleports, so we don't have much practice against it. We were doing a good job getting all the dragons. I think we got the first 3, but they were never clean dragons. We never just got it and got out. Usually we would end up having some deaths and coming out a little bit behind in kills. And we would lose a lot more time in lanes farming than they did. So near the end of the first game, we ended up really underleveled. Almost everyone on our team was down like a level or 2 on their counterpart. And that made it really hard to win fights. And I don't really remember what the team comps were. I think theirs was better. And so, yeah, we didn't really prepare well the first game. I think we could have won that if we went into it with more preparation, but they played really well, so I think they deserve to win.
And in the second game, there was a little bit more pushback from Cloud9, and there were some really influential team fights coming out from Balls, particularly with, coming out from Cloud9, particularly with equalizers from Balls. Is that why you decided to ban Rumble in the third game, and do you think that was a really big factor in why you guys lost game 2?
Yeah, Rumble was definitely a factor, and we're not really used to playing against Rumble in Europe, so yeah, they had a really strong team fight set up, and we couldn't beat them at all in team fights, and we were really afraid if they got Rumble again, they could pull off something similar again and just stomp us in team fights completely. And yeah, they executed their strategy very well in the second game, and we already knew that Rumble is probably his strongest champion, and we were thinking about if we should ban it, and yeah, the second game just showed us that we should.
Absolutely. And then game 3 obviously was not quite as close as the other two. Can you tell us a little bit?
Okay, so level 1, we just kind of got careless and I guess a little greedy with how we moved, because we warded the banana bush late into the game and they warded at the same time, so they knew exactly where we were. And then I guess our bot lane thought it would be safe to go up through the river and into our own tri-bush top lane. And I kind of thought it was a bad idea. I told them they should come through mid, but they said, no, it's okay. And then 3 people were sitting there and they both died and gave the jungler a double kill. And that made the game really hard, because Lee Sin was able to put out a ton of pressure, especially bot lane and mid actually. He just kept ganking them, which kept them from really winning their lanes. And I mean, he did a really good job just snowballing it out, and then eventually got a kill on balls, had a lot of items. They were able to force dragon. We couldn't really contest it because we were all behind. Pretty much every lane off that was behind, because top lane died and then mid and bot got camped off of it. So it's really hard when you're in that situation to come back. Level 1 kills are probably the most devastating thing in the game, and it's happened to us almost all of our losses. So it's something we should have been a lot more prepared for. I thought we were prepared going into that game to not throw level 1, but we did, and so it was a really uphill game, and we tried some stuff to come back, but it just obviously didn't work, and we just got stomped.
So just on that note, as both of you being junglers, what do you think is the best strategy for each of you in trying to bring your team back from a disadvantage?
Yeah, it's really tough, especially like you said, level 1 kills are really snowbally, and I think if we gave them 2 kills level 1 as well, we would have lost for sure. So yeah, but normally what I would do is just try to gank a lot, but it depends, because normally they have a lot of wards as well. And so it's really difficult to come up. Like I don't even know what I would do. I would just like try to cheese them somehow and get some kills.
Yeah, that's pretty much what you have to do. When you're behind, you can either play really safe and just hope they mess up and capitalize it, but that's not likely because they can just not mess up and then you're behind and the disadvantage just grows. Or you have to take a risk and just go for something that might not work. Like that game I tried it, since we both warded the banana bush at the same time in the beginning, as soon as my ward died, I saw their ward died too. So I knew I could get top. So like I looped up around and we went on Varus and we got him to flash and really low health. So that was pretty good. But then after that, they didn't come back to lane with any wards after that. But Leona was just sitting in the bush, and I knew the only time they would go aggressive is if Lee Sin was also there. They wouldn't just get baited into a 2v3. So I couldn't really go top anymore because we would just lose a 3v3 fight if Lee Sin was there too. So I couldn't really go top. Bot and mid were very hard to gank because they were pretty much, my team was pushed up the whole time. And then I couldn't counter jungle either, which is usually what you do when your lanes are pushed up because their Lee Sin was so ahead of me. So it was just a really hard situation. There wasn't not a lot of options for us at that game. And usually when you're that behind, you can also do trades like, I time almost every buff in the game in Dragon, so if we know they're blue spawning the same time with Dragon spawning, we can give up the Dragon, take their blue, and like pressure their lanes, which it's not a good trade, but at least you get something back. If you're gonna lose something, might as well not be for free. So we tried some stuff like that, but they didn't mess up like we were hoping for, and they just won.
Well, thank you so much for your insight. It's great to hear both sides of the story from this matchup. Thank you so much for the interview, and best of luck moving through Worlds. Thank you guys so much for watching, and you can catch more Worlds coverage on lolesports.com.